Hey there, Canyon High School Choir. This is Miss Hohman speaking. Last time I saw you, I was Miss Lester, but no longer. It is now Miss Hohman. Woohoo! Hooray! All of you knew that this was going to be a change that was happening in the near future, but not all of you knew that I would be returning. So here I am as Miss Hohman, and I'm very excited to talk with you today about moods, mindfulness, and music. I put together some optimistic research and resources for all of us in this very trying time. For many of us, I know for me, it's been very moody indeed. So how can we be mindful and use music to improve our experience on this planet Earth? Let's get into it. My first question for you is, how are you feeling? Most of the time when someone asks you that, I bet a large majority of you say, good, how are you? Without even thinking. But do you actually think about how you're feeling? Do you really reflect and notice the moods you're experiencing, or do you sort of just let them wash over you? If you do notice, what causes you to notice? Do you notice because you do reflect intentionally and think, how am I doing? All right, self, let's check in. Or do you maybe notice when your behavior changes? For example, like weird food cravings or a burst of energy to do things, or maybe even you notice you can't focus as well as usual. Or maybe you only notice when other people point it out to you in interactions. So your buddy says, hey friend, you don't seem like yourself. What's going on? And then you stop and think, what is going on? Well, if you are someone who does take the time for intentional reflection, that is called mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Why mindfulness? And what the experts say. Mindfulness is a state of non-judgmental attentiveness to moment experiences. Let's break that down. So it's a state of attentiveness to yourself that is non-judgmental. That's very important. Otherwise, you may beat yourself up, and that's not very helpful. And it's in the moment-to-moment experiences. So it's not necessarily reflecting on how you've been in the past, what you're like in the future. It's really grounding yourself and finding how you're feeling in that very moment. Now, why is mindfulness important when looking inward? The experts say it reduces stress, improves cognitive function, and improves mental well-being. Since those are all things we probably want to accomplish, how can we accomplish that? Those fancy folks down at the bottom did a large study in which they determined that when people practiced mindfulness, even novices practicing mindfulness for a short term, they were able to perform tasks more efficiently and correctly and with less stress. Now, the experts do say that mindfulness, when practiced regularly over long periods of time, is much more effective, but it's really helpful to know that every little bit counts. What does mindfulness look like in practice? So there are many ways to practice mindfulness. It can look like clearing your mind and noticing the thoughts that pop up. It can be noticing your body and the senses you're experiencing in the moment. It can be practicing breathing exercises and body relaxation, which helps you to be a better singer, might I add. It could be free writing about your thoughts, noticing and accepting yourself in whatever state you're in, and noticing, describing, and tracking your mood. Since I am focusing on mood in this particular presentation, we're going to go down that rabbit hole a little bit. So we're going to look into some mood-specific mindfulness. Because your mood is an abstract thing, it can kind of be difficult to describe or articulate. So I like to do visualization or description, which is when you use common adjectives to qualify it. So instead of thinking that your mood is some really unattainable thing, you could say, okay, is my mood right now hot or cold? Is it smooth or rough? Is it, I don't know, red or blue? You can even think of texture, smell, taste. You can make it into a little monster critter. Whatever, it's your mind. The possibilities are endless. If that's a little bit too abstract for your liking, there's a more concrete way that you can do it, which is journaling. Another way to think of your mood is sort of a product of your internal and external environment. So by journaling these factors, one can gain more control and understanding about how they're feeling. A really helpful journal that I found in my research was this one by Dr. Richard O'Connor. He has you describing the date and time of the mood change that you are noticing, the mood change that you are experiencing, and the external and internal factors that you're experiencing. Those external factors are things like who, what, where, or other unusual circumstances, and the internals are thoughts, memories, and fantasies. This is what Richard O'Connor has to say. He says, "The mood journal can help us monitor our own moods to help detect the feelings underneath. Trust that there is always a precipitant to a mood change, and use the mood journal to help analyze the connection between events and the change in mood. In this log, you're simply asked to describe your mood changes and the external and internal events accompanying them in the hope that you will begin to see the connections." So that's what a psychotherapist has to say, if you don't want to take my word for it. So why are we talking about this in choir? Well, one way to include mindfulness in your life is to use music. Studies have shown that watching TV and listening to music are the most preferred mood regulatory strategies. Here's what the scientists had to say. Individuals use their music preferences as a badge to convey information about themselves to others. This way of self-expression allows individuals to connect with others and get their needs met by enabling them to bring others to see them as they see themselves. So essentially what they're saying is if you look inside and notice your moods, you often connect it with music, and music can help you to notice them, as well as express your moods and feelings to other people because they're also feeling those moods and it's causing them to be introspective as well. So when doing a study on how music regulated emotions, it was found that they regulate in two ways. Both ways are by modifying the emotions, but one way is to modify and focus the emotions. The other is to modify and distract. So what exactly does that mean? Well, to modify and focus means that you are focusing in and being introspective and living in the moment of whatever emotion that you're feeling. So, for example, if you've ever felt really sad and wanted to listen to sad music or watch a really crier TV show, that's what you're doing. You're modifying and focusing your emotions. It's to help you seek perspective and reappraise your mental state. Super cool, right? The other way, on the other side of the spectrum, is to modify and distract. So that's like if you're feeling sad and you listen to happy music or played a feel-good movie. It serves as a distraction from the negative stimuli, lets you take a step back, and then you can redirect your feelings to appreciate the aesthetics of it, the beauty, etc. And it lifts your spirits. So when communicating with other people, if you have a hard time articulating your feelings, maybe send your friend a song. If they're sad, send them your favorite happy one or your favorite sad one. It depends on however they're feeling, right? People manage their emotions different ways, and that's why I wanted to kind of address all of the different ways that we can do it. All right, now that we know the power music has over our emotions, how can we use music when we're using those mood tracking techniques? Let's think, if we're using mood visualization, which is where you give your mood adjectives, how could you use music to modify and focus? Perhaps you could find a song that matches your mood and evaluate the adjectives you would assign to each. Are they both indigo and slippery? Are they both fuzzy and yellow in color? It's up to you. Maybe that you can connect why you feel that song matches your mood by adding adjectives. How would you modify and distract in this way? Maybe if there's a song that lifts you up, how is that song's adjectives different from the mood you're experiencing? Does it get lighter in color or fluffier in texture? Share that song with a friend to lift them up. Now, if you were more inclined to journal your mood, like that chart that we saw, how could you use music? Well, you could perhaps add another column that says, "Song I'm feeling right now," and think about how those songs affected your mood. Maybe you could use that song as the catalyst for a mood change. You could journal your mood, add a song, and see what happens to your mood. Music makes it even easier to express our feelings, even if you can't verbalize to someone what you're experiencing. But I challenge you to show them a song that fits what you're feeling, and they are more likely to understand. All right, what's our takeaway? We can use whatever methods we like to evaluate and regulate our moods, and music can be used to enrich our mindfulness activities and give us a better quality of life. Let's not forget that while it is true that regular practice over long periods yields the best results, even the most basic and short-term practice helps. Thank you so much for listening. Get out there and feel the music. I hope to see your faces soon.